Today I'm going to be working in my blooms and botanicals, botanicals and blooms art journal, and I've just kind of been playing around with different ways to draw them and using different mediums. And today I thought I'm going to use acrylic ink and some pastels for a few things, but then at the end I'm going to be using some acrylic inks to put the details. So for right now, I'm going to lay down some colors to brighten up this background. So right here I'm using the salmon gum. I think it's Australian salmon gum. I learned about it from Laura Horn Art. She uses it a lot and it's really versatile. I can use it in cool colors with warm colors, and it just seems to adapt really well, so I like that color. I'm using a makeup sponge to just kind of dab in the layers right now. Now a soft blue. I'm mixing some white and some yellow and a little salmon gum to get this yellow to the color that I wanted. It's just a basic yellow. I think it's a cad yellow or something like that. But anyways, I wanted to change the color a little bit to adapt to the other colors that I was using. And now I'm going back over. So like I add layers of color and then I go back in with the original colors just to kind of make it more cohesive. And now I'm going to use some stencils to add some background noise to this. I'm using a Payne's Gray. This is Stenciling by Seth After. It's one of their club stencils. I have no rhyme or reason when I start stenciling like this in the background. I just want to add something different than what's going on, so it's not just plain. This is a Ramus Sigmund's stencil that I'm using right here. I use her stencils a lot. A lot of times people wonder why you do so many different things in the background when you're just going to cover it up. But I think in the end it adds to the whole aesthetic of it. And I think it also warms you up for, whenever you're working on the background and you're doing all these things, it warms you up for that final layer. And it's just comforting, I think. So now I'm taking a soft pastel and rubbing across the edges to give it a more vintagey look. I did black and brown, and then I'm going to take a baby white and I'm going to rub it in so that it kind of seals it. For me, it just tends to, when you get it wet, it kind of seals it, then I don't have to spray it, and plus there's no hard lines, so it softens it a little bit. Now I'm going to go in and do the leaves. I layer many colors. There's no rhyme or reason to this. I start with the greens, and then so right now I'll just add the stems, and then I'll go in and I try to, when I start to add the leaves, I try to hold the paintbrush towards the end because I have a tendency to choke my brush. So you can see here I'm trying really hard to keep it loose and free, just so that it has a more organic feel to it and just kind of more natural. Sometimes I can just hold that too tight. So now I'm just adding some green onto this. I'm using like a brighter green. To me, it doesn't really matter what green I use because I never just use green. I use a million different colors, so I just grab a green and go to town. And I usually like a lighter green for this beginning layer. And then I work my way up to the darker colors and adding some different colors in there. I never just use greens in my leaves. It's just kind of something that I've gotten used to. I tried to figure out why I do this the other day and I couldn't figure it out. And I was looking at, we went on a walk and I was looking at the leaves and the foliage and stuff. And I was seeing these dark spots and all these different colors in these leaves. And maybe it's just from what I see in nature. I don't know. But I just like the way it looks or feels, I guess, whenever I'm adding details. So now I'm going to go in with Payne's Gray. I love to do Payne's Gray in my leaves. And I'm just adding some darkness to that green. Again, I'm trying I'm thinking about it very hard that I'm not going to choke my brush. I'm going to hold it at the end as much as I possibly can. Even when I'm using a thinner brush, I'm trying to, you can see I'm kind of crouching down, and guess what happens? It becomes too constricted when I do that. And the colors get dark, and I just like whenever I keep my hand towards the end, it just looks better to me. So now I'm going to go in with the flat brush and just kind of blend in that dark Payne's Gray with the greens. Clean off the brush. Let that dry, and then I am dropping in some teal into the leaves, and I'm going to kind of put a strip of that throughout these. I'm not too precious with this. I just kind of put a dab on there, and then I'll go back in with some lavender and put some of that in there. I try not to think too much. So now I'm going to go back in. I want a little more there. I just keep playing with it in layers until I like the way it looks, and I'll go back in with green, I'll go back in with blue. I just keep playing with it till I like the way it looks. This is with that flat brush. It's just this short flat brush. This Payne's Gray adds some depth and some contrast to those softer colors. I'm not loving that leaf right there or that one, so I'm adding some more green to these. And since I've laid down that dark color, when I go in with the more translucent green, it still shows up. It's still there. I'm not completely covering it up, which is nice. some purple. I wish I could tell you that I use these colors because they're in nature whenever I look at a leaf, but they're really not. I don't know, I just like the color combination. I just think it's fun. I like the way they work together, so that's why I use these colors. Whenever I'm doing leaves anyways. So now I'm going back in with some teal. I just keep working those layers. I'm an artist that loves to work in layers. Layers are forgiving, especially when you're using acrylic paint. And I love what a layer looks like in the end. Like, I can paint like poopy, like all day long, but the more I add the layers, I don't even know if it covers it up. It does a little bit, but also I just think it doesn't matter because it's adding all this interest to it because I'm adding layers. That's why I think layers are important. Now I'm going to go in with some black ink, and right here I'm trying to use this pin, which I love using this pin, but I made a mistake here. I hadn't let this completely dry, and all of some places were completely dry and others were not, so it was not working out so good for me. So I keep trying to persevere, and guess what? It's not working. And so and then I ended up with a blotch, and I love when that happens actually. I like little things like that happen that make things a little irregular, but eventually I decide that this is not working, and I go to a smaller brush. I try it. I keep trying because I love using this pen with inks. I just think it's fun. There we go, a small brush. And then I just start adding some details with that black. I normally at this point use a Posca pen, if I'm being honest, but I'm trying to use other tools. I'm just trying to figure out new ways to do things. I recently ran out of Posca pens. I have them now. I ordered them and I got them, but that feeling of, oh no, what am I going to do? I don't have a Posca pen, made me realize that maybe I need to try to do some other, use other tools. And so that's why I'm doing this. Now I'm going to go in with the white ink. Again with the layering. I just think the layers, I don't know, they just make everything better to me. They make it more interesting. It can be an epic fail and still be kind of fun. I always like to take my finger and dab on the top to make everything not so stark, but anyways. And so now I'm just doing this last layer with the ink, and now I'm flipping the brush to add little splatters everywhere, and then that is the end.